I would like to take a couple of minutes to show you a small keyboard trick that I've been using for some years now, that has helped me move the sound of my keyboard playing from being very plain sounding to having a little more sophistication. Really what it is substitutions of major chords and substitutions of minor chords, and variations, just variations on the tonal qualities of the chord. Understanding the root chord, but also understanding how you can broaden the sound of each chord to make it sound so much sweeter, a little more sophisticated than just the plain chord. And so I'm going to use the key of D to start with, just to illustrate what I'm talking about. So in the key of D, that's D right there. In the key of D, you have three major chords. You have D, you have G, and you have A. And then also in the key of D, you have three minor chords. You have the relative minor, which is B minor. You have another minor, which is E minor. And then you have a third minor, which is F sharp minor. And most of the substitutions, actually all of the substitutions that I do, are on either the three major chords or the three minor chords. So just right off the bat, I rarely ever play straight D chord as you see it on the keyboard right now. D, F sharp, A, and D. I rarely ever play it like that because I have discovered that if you add the 2 or the 9 up at the top, it completely changes the tonal quality. So you go an E, F sharp, A, and D at the top, and a D in the bass. That already starts to move the sound of the chord away from just a plain sounding chord to a more sophisticated sound. And then obviously you can build it from there. You can start to change the inversions of the chord. You can go F sharp, A, D, and E, and have it like that. That already changes the sound of the chord. The variation that I like the most has the A on the bottom, the D on the top, and instead of playing the F sharp, I play an A, a D, an E, and an A at the top. And sometimes I even push it further and I take the D away, and it looks like it's almost an A5 chord at the top. A, E, and A with a D in the bottom. But because I am holding the D, because I'm pedaling the D in the bass line, what happens is that it still maintains some of its tonal properties of the chord, of the original chord of D. So just to recap, you can substitute it like that, or like that, or my favorite is like that. And finally, you can take the D away completely and the F sharp away completely and just hold it like that. I find that this is a substitution that works very well in situations where I am playing with a guitar player and I need to create space within the tone of the chord for the guitarist to strum. So I'll play chords like that, and it's a full sounding chord, but there's a lot of space in the chord for the guitar instrument to sit. So let's take it one step further. In the key of D, the next major chord is G. You can hold G like that, you can invert it like that, like that, like that. So using the same substitution principle, we use the 2 or the 9. We can go A, B, D, and G up at the top, and that already changes the sound of it from just that to that. I don't know if you can hear it. I'll turn the keyboard up a little bit. Or we can take it one step further. We can take it one step further, have the D at the bottom, have the G in the middle, A in the middle, D at the top. That's a really cool way of playing it. Another cool way of playing it, just like we did with the D, is just like that. Have the D, A, and D at the top. Basically, you have to think of it as building off of the G chord. G2, as the guitarists like to call it. Put the D at the bottom so that you pedal it, and then take the B away, take the G away, and just hold it like that. And because you're holding G in the bottom, it's a G chord substitution. Another fascinating way of playing it is to take the D away and just have the A at the top, D in the middle, and A in the bottom. As you can tell, it already sounds far more sophisticated than just a straight G. And you basically do the same thing with the chord of A. So A chord, do A2, then start to switch it around. And so all of these variations on the chord can be used to create different tonal qualities depending on how many instruments you're playing with, or the kind of sound that you're looking to create. I prefer a more open sound, a more airy sound than a dense sound with lots of chords. But some keyboard players really like that dense sound. I prefer a more stretched out sound. So moving right along, I'm going to take you into minor chord substitutions. Minor chord substitutions are best understood, at least the way I think of them. They're best understood if you understand the relationship between a chord and its relative minor. So the chord of D, the relative minor of D is B. The reason they call it a relative minor is because most of the notes in the scale of B minor are the same notes as the notes in the scale of D. There's some music theory for you. And so it so happens that instead of playing the straight B minor chord, I started to experiment with playing B minor 7. And I usually like to mirror the chord that I'm playing with my right hand, with the left hand. But not including all the notes, just some of them. So that would be B minor, that would be B minor 7 for the left hand. And for the right hand, B minor 7. The more I played this chord, the more I realized that with the exception of the note B on my right hand, the rest of the notes were the notes of the chord triad of the key of D. And so I started taking the B away completely and just playing B minor 7 with the B in the bottom and the D in the top. It has a very open sound, and like I said previously, I prefer an open sound. Some people like the dense sound of B minor 7. I like the open sound of this substitution where you're playing a D in the top and a B in the bottom. And so you can even take it one step further. You can start to use the substitutions that I was using in the major chords, like when I was substituting D, when I was substituting the sound of the straight D triad with that. You can also use that substitution with B minor. And so let's build it from the start. B minor 7. B minor 7 has all the notes of the D triad, including a B minor as well, so I move the B down there. Then I say, what if I use the substitutions of D in the B minor chord? And so that's my favorite D chord substitution. So I just used it in B minor as well. And then I even take it one step further and I make the open sound of D on the right hand as a substitute for B minor. When you put all of this together, you get some interesting tonal qualities, and it's really a distance away, and a very elegant distance away from just a straight B minor chord, to having B minor 7, having D on the top, to having a D2 on the top, to even taking the D away. And so the same thing goes then for the E minor. Remember, we're still in the key of D. So another minor in the key of D is E minor. But if you know a little bit of theory, you know that E minor is the relative minor of G. And so what I can do, still in the key of D, is try to use the substitutions on the note of G, on the triad of G, within the minor of E. So again, we build it from E. I like to use minor sevenths, period, as a substitution for straight up minors when I see them in music. It's something that is very common in black gospel, in contemporary neo soul and that kind of thing. You will rarely hear a straight minor chord. You'll mostly hear a minor seventh chord or a substitution over a minor seventh chord. And so that's E minor 7. I can just play a straight G over the top of it. I've already opened up the chord, and then I can also play a substitution of G. And then I can even take the G away and have it like that. Very open, sophisticated sound. And then finally, on F sharp minor, I build it. Like I said, I usually play minor seventh. Right out of the gate, I can play the A, and then I can play substitutions of A. So if I was playing, let's say I was playing a song with a three minor chord change in the key of D. So let's say the minor chords were B minor, E minor, F sharp minor, and then back to B minor. Turn it around, back to B minor. I could play it straight like that: B minor, E minor, F sharp minor, or I could use the substitutions: B minor, E minor, F sharp minor, B minor, or even further substitutions: B minor, F sharp, E minor, F sharp minor, B minor, and it goes on from there. The possibilities are endless. So mess around with that chord substitution, work with it using a bunch of other keys. I've used the key of D, but you can definitely use those substitutions in any other key on the keyboard that you choose, any other key that you have the music for. Go ahead, experiment with it. Send me some videos of you trying it out, and let's see how this goes. Okay, thank you. Meet me again for substitutions part 2. There's another whole set of substitutions that I have to share with you, and I'll share them with you in the next lesson. Thank you.